What's up, everybody? It's yours truly, Fitz. Hope you guys are having a fantastic day. And just real quick before we get on to the video, which is a banger, remember that if you want PvP coaching or be my friend in Pokemon Go, you can simply go to the channel, hit this join button, and it'll display the tiers. If you want to be my friend in Pokemon Go, you can just join for $2 a month. If you want PvP coaching, also while being friends, $4.99 a month. All access to PvP coaching. We can call each other via like Discord, emails, you name it. We can certainly discuss PvP 100%. So just thought I'd get that out of the way, and without further ado, let's get into it. So we're going to go over Pokemon that I'm starting to see that once I go up against them, I'm screwed. I get walled by these Pokemon. Now, of course, you could just simply go with the strategy of saying, hey, I'm going to stick with these 3 Pokemon. They've been giving me success. If I go 3 out of 5 battles with a win and I lose 2, that's fine with me. And you could certainly do that. But as I'm getting more and more high rank 9 battles in, I'm starting to encounter these Pokemon more and more, and they're absolutely walling my team. So the first one's Clefable. Clefable is a Charmer, and this Pokemon single-handedly took out 2 of my Pokemon just using Charm alone. I just simply could not get my Charge moves fast enough to wipe it out, even though the opponent had no shields. Now, the main thing that makes this Pokemon so destructive is its weaknesses are only Poison and Steel. And of course, like I said, Charm is insane. It also gets Meteor Mash and has access to Psychic. The best moveset for those Pokemon is Charm, Meteor Mash, and Psychic. Another thing, this Pokemon is a great counter to Poliwrath. It's a great counter to Giratina. And it's also very tanky because you can max this Pokemon out. So it's a great counter to Giratina. It's a great counter to Poliwrath and any of the fighting Pokemon. It's a great counter to any of the other Dragon types you might come across. It is a very, very good Pokemon. And what I want to discuss is Pokemon that we might not be thinking about that could counter this Pokemon. So let's go ahead and go over some of those. If we look at Victory Bell, for example, it's got the Poison type, so it does resist Fairy. And it's got some pretty good moves. First of all, you can max this Pokemon out. That's always a plus. And I do want to give a disclaimer, guys. Just like the Master League, the Ultra League is super expensive, and there's just no way around it. That's what sucks. There's no way around it. If you really want to get the best team, you have to spend the Stardust. And honestly, I'm broke just like you. But I'm still giving you guys an idea, an option to be able to take down some of these Pokemon rather easily. Now, there are benefits and disadvantages to choosing Acid over Razor Leaf. Razor Leaf is going to shred Swampert. It's going to shred Poliwrath. But that's not what you're necessarily trying to cover. You're trying to cover those fairy Pokemon, like Wigglytuff, like I showed here. Wigglytuff, that's another one that you can come across that's pretty tanky. People usually max them out, and they're only weak to Poison and Steel. So, Wigglytuff. Acid's going to do super effective damage. It does have a better EPT than Razor Leaf. And then, boom, you could... Okay, this is where things get interesting. You could go for a darn near one-hit KO with Sludge Bomb, or you could go with Acid Spray. The thing is if you go with Acid Spray, you're no longer trying to one-hit KO with a Sludge Bomb. What you're trying to do is you'll decrease their defense and then hit it with a Leaf Blade, which is a very powerful move that doesn't take long to power up. It's got very low energy cost. So you could hit it with an Acid Spray. You're still doing a super effective damage, 20 damage, but hey, it's also doing stab too, so it actually does a decent amount of damage for being a Poison type move with a low damage. So you could run Acid Spray and Leaf Blade. You could run Leaf Tornado and Sludge Bomb, because Leaf Tornado has a chance to decrease their attack stat, I do believe. So, you know, there's some pretty good combinations. But the main thing about Victory Bell is it's going to resist those charms. It's going to resist the charms because of its Poison typing. Now, another Pokemon that's pure Poison that I have not tested yet, I really want to, is Seviper. I've only come across a handful of Armored Mewtwo's, so the Psychic probably you won't encounter too much, but it resists Fairy, Fighting, Grass, and Poison, and its moves are pretty substantial. Poison Jab is fantastic. There's Crunch and Poison Fang. Poison Fang, there is your Fairy Killer. Crunch, there is your Giratina counter. Who knew? Also, if they end up throwing some kind of, you know, Ghost at you or Psychic Pokemon like Armored Mewtwo, at least you can get one of these off before you die. Now, whether that, you know, shield your opponent shields it or not, that's okay. At least you busted his shield, I guess. But this is a Pokemon that I think might be okay to use. If you have a level 35 caught in the wild, try giving it a second move, try powering it up, let me know how it goes. This is a pretty solid Poison-type Pokemon. Again, this is just to counter those fairies, because they are becoming an issue. I can't stress this enough, and I don't know why I haven't tested this Pokemon yet. It's because of the Stardust costs, let's all be honest. But Skuntank should be a very good fairy counter for you. Just to reiterate, because I've gone over this Pokemon 100 times. Poison Jab, Sludge Bomb, Crunch. Need I say more? It covers Giratina, it covers any Psychic types, and it covers any fairies. Not really trying to cover Steels, even though I've seen maybe a couple Reggie Steels and a couple Melmetal, but it's not that common. Drapion. Drapion, again, same thing. Really good Pokemon to cover those fairies. I would go Poison Sting. You're trying to do a lot of damage. Sludge Bomb, and the rest is up to you. The rest is completely up to you. Very viable Pokemon. I talked about that, I think, in the last video. One that's starting to get more traction is Toxicroak, because it's weak to Flying Ground and Psychic, but it resists a lot of good Pokemon. Poison Jab, Sludge Bomb, Mud Bomb. Pretty good. Mud Bomb is pretty nice because it does cover Steels, in case you were to come across one, which, like I said, is kind of rare, but that is nice to have. And also, Sludge Bomb pretty much is going to one-hit KO your fairies because of this high attack stat with it being maxed. This is an incredible Pokemon, a good Pokemon. It does have a niche. You are trying to cover a specific type of Pokemon. Also, I do want to say, if you give it Dynamic Punch instead, so if you run Dynamic Punch, Sludge Bomb, pretty good there, because you're covering Snorlax. Snorlax is starting to become more prevalent, and Licky Licky, might even with Body Slam, might become more prevalent as well. So you can run Sludge Bomb and Dynamic Punch as well, absolutely. But I'd keep the Poison Jab, simply because if you get in a Fairy matchup, you're doing heavy, super effective stab damage with Poison Jab. It's pretty important. Another Pokemon that I don't think anyone's going to test is Amoonguss. Why? Because it's literally like a miniature Chansey. Amoonguss is pretty good Pokemon. Here's why. You give it Feint Attack, it's got a decent EPT. It also will cover Giratina or any other type of Ghost Pokemon or Psychic Pokemon. Now, it's not going to be a Fairy counter, except with Sludge Bomb. Here's something that I'm coming across. I use Tangrowth a lot. Tangrowth has access to Power Whip, Sludge Bomb, and Ancient Power. I give mine Power Whip and Ancient Power. Every time my opponent switches to a Charizard, or like a Blaziken, or a Typhlosion, and I get an Ancient Power off, they do not shield it because they do not know what moves Tangrowth has. No one does. No one studies a Pokemon that's kind of out of the meta that no one uses. This would be the same case. So if by any means you're using this Pokemon, let's say they lead with Giratina, and you lead with this, and they switch to a Fairy, you get the Sludge Bomb off, I guarantee you, 9 times out of 10, they will not shield because they have no idea what moves this Pokemon has, and they're going to assume that the move you're going to use isn't going to hurt. They might remember a Foul Play, but if they don't remember Sludge Bomb, you're going to deal a ton of damage, and you're just going to win this matchup, plain and simple. Because Amoonguss is a Poison type, and it is resisting Fairy. So, just thought I'd throw that out there. Even if it's a Togekiss using like Air Slash, you're still going to be looking pretty good, I think. I'll be honest, because it's tanky, remember? It's got 249 stamina, even though Air Slash is going to hurt. You're going to look pretty good. And then finally, to counter the fairies, is Scolipede. Again, another expensive investment. Guys, these are all expensive investments. That's what sucks. I'll be 100% honest with you guys. But if some of you guys have some Stardust to spend, or you want to try new things, this is definitely the video for you. So, obviously, Poison Jab, Sludge Bomb, and X-Scissor. X-Scissor covers, you know, the Dark types. It does, one thing that a lot of people fail to realize is Bug does neutral damage to dragons. So this will do super effective damage to Giratina or any other Dark type, and it'll do neutral damage to dragons, because I do believe Poison does not very effective to, okay, does do neutral damage to dragons. So this is a very good fairy counter as well. Sludge Bomb, X-Scissor, fantastic. It is only weak to, I believe, Fire and Ground, is that it? Fire, Flying, Ground, and Psychic, okay. Rock, excuse me. Not bad, not bad. Pretty good stats, especially when you max them out. Not bad. So, let's go over the next Pokemon. Well, real quick. Let's cover Togekiss. Why is Togekiss not hard to counter? Because it's weak to Ice. Articuno. Ice Beam Suicune. Ancient Power Tangrowth. Anything with Ancient Power. So, the reason why I didn't cover Togekiss and things to counter it, because it's so easy to counter, because of that flying type. Alright, now let's move on. Poliwrath. Poliwrath literally destroys my team every single time because it has access to Dynamic Punch, Mud Shot, and Ice Punch. This Pokemon is freaking ridiculous and it covers everything, and it's annoying. So I have found a way to counter this Pokemon. Guaranteed. I run simulations with PvPoke, and I found that Alolan Ninetales, no matter what the situation is, whether it's 2 shields versus 2 shields, 1 shields versus 1 shields, or no shields at all on both sides of the fence, Alolan Ninetales with Charm takes the win every single time, no matter what. So this Pokemon, again, you can max it out, given a second move. This is your Poliwrath Destroyer, or any fighting type Pokemon that you come across. Also, what's nice too is you give it you give it Ice Beam, so you give Charm, Ice Beam, Psyshock. You're also taking care of, you guessed it, any of the dragons or flying types. Now, one thing you could do, and it'll still win, is give it Powder Snow with Psyshock. Because remember, Psyshock's still doing super effective damage to the fighting types. And one thing to drive home, super effective with the poison types too. Wonder why that's important. I just got done covering poison types to counter fairies. Well. Ninetales has a counter to the poison types. So there's 2 different ways you can run this. You can run Charm on Alolan Ninetales to literally just destroy dragon types, dark types, and fighting types. Or you could run Powder Snow and spam some Psyshocks, spam some Ice Beams. It's totally up to you. Charm will hit like a truck though. More so than Clefable. Because Clefable, let's see, 178. And we've got, I think Ninetales attacks 170. So close. Close. Now another interesting counter for Poliwrath, or a lot of other Pokemon for that matter, is Golduck. I think a lot of people forget about this Pokemon because of all the moves that Niantic gave it. Let's go over this Pokemon again. So you can give it Water Gun and Confusion. I would suggest... Wow, actually I don't have a suggestion. You could run either or. Confusion is definitely going to be your Poliwrath counter, and it does super effective damage to Venusaur. So if you come across a Venusaur, Confusion is still going to hurt really bad. And you can give it Cross Chop for any kind of Dark type coverage. You could also give it Synchronoise. There's more fighting type coverage against a Poliwrath. Ice Beam, Bubble Beam if you want to nerf their attack stat. This Pokemon is extremely viable, and I think it has a place in the Ultra League without a doubt because its stats are ridiculous. You can max this out. A 191 attack stat and a 190 stamina, and coupled with a 162 defense is absolutely insane. So Golduck is actually a very good Pokemon to use in the Ultra League, and if you come across a Venusaur matchup, you'll probably die, but they're not going to get out of there unscathed. You're going to be doing heavy damage with Confusion. So give this Pokemon a try. It has the movesets to absolutely dominate. If it was me, I would run Confusion, Cross Chop, Synchronoise. I think that would do pretty well. And finally, Empoleon. This is another Pokemon that serves 2 purposes in this video. 1, it's extremely hard to counter. Extremely hard to counter. And 2, it's actually a good counter against the Charmers because of its moves. Its moves, you give it Metal Claw with Hydro Cannon and Flash Cannon, I guess? Or Blizzard, up to you. I would go Flash Cannon because it doesn't take that much energy as opposed to Blizzard. So Metal Claw, Hydro Cannon, Flash Cannon. And to counter this Pokemon, you need a fighting type. I mean, there's no other way around it. If you use an electric type, you're not going to look so hot because there's going to be other Pokemon in the other opponent's team. If it's a Snorlax, you're screwed. If it's Origin Form Giratina with Ancient Power, you're screwed. So electric types are kind of frowned upon when it comes to the Ultra League because they just don't have enough to get them going. A Hariyama with counter, dynamic punch, and close combat would be pretty good to counter Empoleon. See, ground's not a very good idea because of the ice types. Really, fighting is the only way to counter this Pokemon, which kind of sucks. Golduck, we just got done talking about it. Cross Chop, there you go, there's your counter. Empoleon's a tough one to come across. You could, of course, use Poliwrath to counter Empoleon. But, pretty tough Pokemon to counter, and it can wall you, because the Pokemon that you have might not be doing very much damage against it, therefore it's surviving, and it's slowly chipping away, killing every single one of your Pokemon. So there you guys have it. Let me know if this helped in the comment section down below. Smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't done so already, be part of the Fitz City fam. Again, remember, if you want to be my friend in Pokemon Go forever, you can join for $2 a month, or if you want PvP coaching on top of it, $4.99 a month, and we can get rolling and get you winning in the Great, Ultra, and Master League. That's your boy Fitz City, I'm signing off. See you guys in the next Pokemon Go video.